So good morning or good afternoon, depending on when you're watching. This may be evening. This is Mrs. Robertson, and today we're going to do all 20 of these problems as opposed to stretching it over 2 days. Tomorrow is our first day of iLearn. It'll be the English Language Arts iLearn test. So today we're just going to review some of these procedures, and then I'm going to have another worksheet after we're done with our Bellwork to go over a few things that you will see whenever it comes to the Math iLearn test. In number 1, if the sales tax rate is 6%, what is the tax on $12.25? What do I have to do to 6%, kids? What do you have to do before we can figure out what the tax is? Yes, Owen. Right, and to turn a percent into a decimal, you move it 2 places to the left, 0.06. Or you could take 6 over 100 times $12.25. Remember, a percent means per 100. I think it's just easier if you take it times 0.06. So, what's the tax on $12.25? $12.25 times 0.06. Here, make sure you know where your decimal points are and you multiply. 6 times 5 is 30, put down a 0, carry a 3. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 3 is 15, put down a 5, carry a 1. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 1 is 13, put down a 3, carry a 1. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Now, how many numbers are behind the decimal point? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you start at the back. 1, 2, 3, 4. You put your decimal point in. Now, we don't have 735 thousandths in money. What would that be when you round it to the hundredths place, to where the pennies are? What would how much money is this, Owen? $7.35. It's not $7.35. That would be a lot for tax. If you're buying something for $12, tax isn't going to be $7, yes. $73? Not 73. Tax. This is what you have to pay to the government when you buy something. It's not going to be more than your purchase. It's only 6%. 100% would be $12.25. 6% is just a little bit of it. Look at where Mrs. Robertson put her decimal point. What's the answer going to be, Aiden? $12.74. Well, you're getting close. This is 74 cents. The tax is going to be 74 cents. The 5 turns the 3 into a 4 because money only goes to the hundredths place, okay? So when you buy something for $12.25, the government is going to charge you 74 more cents. So that's the amount that goes to the government. So then you add $12. So here it just says, what is the tax? Well, the tax on this purchase is 0.74. Now, when you're done at the cash register, you add 74 cents to $12.25, and the final amount you would pay, which it didn't ask this, but I thought I would just show you, $12.25 plus 74 cents goes to the government. Instead of $12.25, you're going to pay $12.99, which is better than $75, which some of you thought you would pay for your item. You would know that that would be way too much, wouldn't you? Yeah. So just think about, what am I doing in this problem? Okay? Any questions? Number 2. In 2 and 3, we are multiplying and dividing fractions. You have to change them to improper fractions. There will be problems like this on your iLearn test. I want to see that you at least know what you have to do. You have to change them to improper fractions. And to do that, you multiply, add, and put it on top. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So I'm going to have 5/3 times 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. 12 fifths. Now, I don't like to multiply with big numbers, so I simplify when I can. What's one? Yes.
Both fives turn into one.
The fives right away. If you have a 5 on top and a 5 on bottom, they turn into ones. Now, and then if you know that 3 divides 3 once and 3 divides 12 4 times, you get the answer 4 over 1. Let's say you didn't, but you have 12 over 3. You know that 12 over 3 will equal 4 over 1. So the answer to that problem is 4. Okay? Any questions? In number 3, you do the same thing. Multiply, add, and put it on top. 16/3 divided by 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2 is 5/3. Now, what do I do before I do anything? What do I have to do to this problem? Keep, change, flip. When you divide, you have to change it. It's keep, so you're going to have 16/3 times 3/5. Caden, what's the shortcut that we have here? What is the shortcut that we have here in this problem?
No clue.
That's very sad.
You're not funny.
Yes, what could we do? There's a 3 on top and a 3 on bottom. So the 3's will turn into 1's. 16 times 1 is 16. 1 times 5 is 5. Now we have an improper fraction. What's a mixed number for that improper fraction? If they say in simplest form, you're going to have to change it. So what would it be?
3 and 1/6.
Yes, how many 5's live in a 16? 3, and there's 1 left over. 3 and 1/5. Any questions? Kids, you really have to know how to do 2 and 3. It's fair. All of these are very important. In number 4, the first thing you're going to do is your selfish parentheses. We're going to do 4 plus 1 2/3. So I'm just going to put a 4 on top, line it up, the 4, and you have 5 and 23/100. I might have said 2/3. I meant to say 23/100. Now we're going to subtract. You're going to have 7 8/10 minus 5.23. I'm going to show that work right here. So 7 8/10 minus 5 23/100. What do I have to do before I can continue to subtract? Carrington, what do I have to do before I can subtract in this problem? Yeah. What do I have to do? Yes. I have to put a 0 in, that's correct. We have to put a 0 above it, so let's pay attention. I knew you probably figured I already had that written down. But you have to put a 0 above the 3. Now we can borrow. Now that you have your 0 above the 3, borrow from the 8, it turns into a 7, that turns into a 10. 10 minus 3 is 7. 7 minus 2 is 5. Decimal point, and 7 minus 5 is 2. So the answer to number 4 is 2 57/100. 2 57/100. Any questions on these problems? All right. Later in the week, I will be giving you quizzes, little mini quizzes, and these are the same problems that are going to be on them. There shouldn't be any reason why you can't get these right. All right. Now let's go to number 5. In number 5, we are multiplying decimals. So I'm going to write it this way, 78/100 times 12/100. 2 times 8 is 16. Put down a 6, carry a 1. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. Now I'm going to put down a place value 0. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 7 is 7. Add them together. 6 13, carry a 1, 9. Now I'm not finished because there are decimal points in the problem. How many numbers are behind the decimal point? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have an empty blank there. What do I put on that empty blank? What am I going to do, Quinn? A 0. And then you put your decimal point in. So the answer is 0.0936. Any questions? Everyone okay with number 5? Good. So it was the answer. You could have that or 0.0936. Usually in the book or on a test they would write it like this as opposed to just 0.0936, okay? Number 6, what am I going to do first in this problem? Yes, the parentheses. So I'm going to do that below it, and it's a division. So we have 0.36 divided by 12. 12 goes on the outside. Now, what am I going to do first, Aiden? Before I can divide, what do I have to do? Yes, there's not a decimal here, so I don't move it. I just am going to put it straight to the top. Now, this is where it's important. How many 12s are in a 3? 0. How many 12s are in a 36? 3. The answer's not 3, but 3/100ths. Now, we're still not finished. Now, we are going to do 15 divided by 0.03. Okay, I'll do that one in red. So the first number, 15, goes in the box. 0.03 goes outside it. Okay, that looks like it. Now, I have to move the decimal point in the divisor. This is called the divisor. 1, 2. Now I have to move this one 2 places. It's right here. 1, 2, so I add 2 zeros and I put it straight up. How many 3s are in a 1? None. In a 15? 5. Subtract. Bring down. How many 3s are in a 0? 0? 0. I still have one more 0 to bring down. How many 3s are in a 0? 0. So the answer to this problem is 500. Number 6 is 500. It's all following the rules for decimals. We've been doing it all year. Number 17. What is 40% of 80? What did I say? Oh, number 7. The snow here this morning is just, I can't believe it. It sort of messed us all up today, this late in April. Anyway, of means to multiply, doesn't it? So what are you going to change 40% to? A decimal or fraction. How many of you like multiplying with decimals better than fractions? Most of you do. So let's to change a percent to a decimal, you move it 2 places, and you have 80 times 0.4. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 8 is 32. How many numbers are behind the decimal point? 1. So the answer is 32.0. Now, kids, you should always go back and make sure it makes sense. What is 50% of 80? Michaela, what's 50% of 80? That's the same thing as half. What's half of 80? 40. Now, is 32 close to 40? Yeah. Because it's 40%, we know it's going to be less than 40 because 50% is 40. So you want to make sure it's like, yeah, that's right. Now, if you had your decimal point in the wrong spot and you had 320, you'd know it's like, oh, it can't be that. That's more than 100%. Or if you had 3.2, it's like, oh, it's got to be more than 3.2. So always go back and check your answers. Now let's go to 9, 10, and 11. In number 9, we have to change our fraction to a decimal. Now that one's not as friendly as some of them. How do you change a fraction to a decimal? Yes, Owen? You divide. We're going to put the top number in the box, 3 divided by 8. And then you're going to divide. Now, I'm so glad to see that all of you are doing what you're supposed to. It just really makes me feel good inside. So, now, how many 8s are in a 3? None. I'm going to add a decimal point and a 0. How many 8s are in a 30? 3. 24. Subtract. Add a 0. Bring it down. How many 8s are in a 60? 7. 56. Subtract. I get a 4. Add another 0. Bring it down. How many 8s are in a 40? 5. So the decimal is 0.375. Now what's my percent? You just move it 2 places to the right, so what will the percent be? Chantier, what's my percent? Yeah. 37 5/10. That's right. You just move it 2 places to the right. Okay, now let's do this one. My fraction, well, that's 2 6/10. But 6/10 can simplify. What will 6/10 simplify to? 3/5. 2 divides 6 and 2 divides 10. 2 divides 6 3 times, 2 divides 10 5. So you get 2 3/5 for your fraction. What's my percent? It's going to be over 100%. What's it going to be? Owen? 260%. That's right. You move it 2 places to the right. Always remember, 1 equals 100%. So if it's 2 point something, you know it's going to be 200 and some percent, okay? This one, 4%. That's the same thing as 4 over 100. But I want to say that can be simplified. What will 4 over 100 simplify to? 4 divides 4, and 4 will go into 100. 4 goes into 4 once. 4 what's equal $1? And how much is a quarter worth? 1 over 25. So the fraction is 1 over 25. And your decimal, 400ths, is written as 400ths.04. Okay? Any questions? All right. Now we're going to look at problem number 12. In problem number 12, it says, what is the perimeter of the isosceles triangle? Isosceles triangle means you have 2 sides that are the same length, okay? So the perimeter means you add all the sides. It'll just be 12 plus 12 plus 11, and that equals, what? Did you get 35? Oh, I'll go back to number 8, thank you. 35 millimeters. In problem number 8, oh, it is a fraction. I was thinking it was there. Oh, this one's easy. What fraction of the circle is shaded? Well, that's 2 pieces right there, kids. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many pieces are there all together?
8.
And what's another name for 4/8 if that's not a 1/2? You all know that 4/8 is 1/2. Thank you for reminding me to go back to number 8. Okay. Now we're going to do number 13. What is the area of the right triangle? The formula for the area of a triangle equals base times height divided by 2. Another formula that does the same thing is 1/2 base times height. They say the same thing. So remember, you look for the little right angle thing. This is your base, this is your height, or you could say this is your height and this is your base, because if I turned it around like that, that would be my base and that would be my height, right? So back to this way. I'm going to take, I like using the formula on top the best. I'm going to take 8 times 6, 8 times 6 divided by 2. 8 times 6 is 48, divided by 2 is 24. You could also do it this way. 1/2 times 8 is 4, and 4 times 6 will also give you 24, and it'll be inches squared. Any questions? All right, you don't have to do, because these are 7th grade standards, 14 and 15, but you know, if the radius is 6, what's the diameter of the circle? 12, that's right. All right, let's go on to number 16. What is the area of the hexagon? All right, kids, there are several ways you can cut this one into 2 pieces and add them together. I think I'm just going to cut mine right here and then trace over it. It will be, this is 3 and that is 6. 3 times 6 is 18. Now I have the bottom shape. It's not 4 times 7 though. I got to figure out that line times 4. Well, it's not 7. It's this whole distance here is 7 and this is 3. 3 plus what equals 7? 4. So this is a 4. So 4 times 4 is 16. Now, what you're going to do will be add these two together. So 18 plus 16, 34 feet squared. Any questions? Now for the perimeter, you add all 6 sides together. It's 6 plus 3. Oh, I got to figure out that little mystery side. 4 plus what is 6? 2. Plus 4, plus 4, plus 7. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got all my sides together. And then just add them. 6 plus 3 is 9. 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 2 is 10. And then I add the 7. So 9 plus 10 is 19. And 19 plus 7 is, did you get 26 feet? Good. Number 18. Now this happens to be a cube. Volume equals length times width times height. Now since this is a cube, what's the width? And what's the height? Right. So it's going to be 6 times 6 is 36. And 36 times 6, 216. Kids, I think whenever we are doing like testing, sometimes there's a calculator you can click on and bring it down. I think you can use a calculator on these types of problems, okay, just to let you. And if you can, use it. Don't ignore it, please use it. Complete the proportion. We got to change 3/5 to something over 100. Well, this one's pretty easy because 5 is a factor of 100, right? 5 times what's 100? 20. If you have 20 $5 bills, you have $100. So then you take the top number times 20. 3 times 20 gives you the answer of 60. A equals 60. Any questions? Now we have ratios. In a class of 32 students, there are 18 boys. It doesn't tell you how many girls, does it? How do I figure out how many girls there are? What do you do to figure out how many girls? Yes. Right. Yeah, you subtract 18 from 32. And 12 minus 8 is 4. 14 sounds right. Yeah, 14 plus 18 will give you 32. So I have 14 girls. Now, what is the boy to girl ratio? So they want boys to girls. So if I do the dot dot method, I have to do boys and then you do girls. So how many boys are there? It's going to be 18 to 14. And you feel really good. It's like, yes. But if it's a multiple choice, that might not be a multiple, that might not be there. Can someone simplify that? This is correct, but they might say choose all of them, or they might not have that one. What will that simplify to? Yes. 9 sevenths. 2 divides 18 9 times. 2 divides 14 7. It could be written like that. It could be written the TO 9 to 7, or as an 9 over 7. Now kids, when you're doing proportions or ratios, you don't simplify your fraction then, okay? You just keep it an improper one. Any questions? All right, 20 problems, and you should have these all finished. Are there any questions?